So I was asked to do a video about the National Socialist influences of LaVeyan Satanism, and there really weren't any. I mean, not really, except for some. If you read The Devil's Notebook and Satan Speaks, which are two of LaVey's later books, which are kind of like little essays and short blurbs, ideas that he put to paper, you will see that he talks about how Satanism is overtly National Socialistic and Jewish. And this is true. Like, for example, the Sabbath for Satanism begins on Friday evening. Okay, and Anton LaVey was a Jewish, or a person of Jewish ancestry. Not a Jewish person, because this is the thing. Was Jesus a Jewish person? Was John the Baptist a Jewish person? No, they were Christians. Jesus ceased being Jewish when he started to profess Christianity. Just like Anton LaVey ceased being Jewish the second he started proclaiming and preaching Satanism. Okay, so it depends on what you're talking about when you talk about Jewish. Was Anton LaVey biologically Jewish? Yes. Yes, he was. But he was not ideologically Jewish or religiously Jewish. He might be, in some ways he reminds me of a sort of atheistic Jew, but he was not really overtly Jewish. Why did he embrace a National Socialist archetype or a National Socialist style? Many people of Jewish ancestry do this as a way to sort of own the aesthetic, to own the aesthetic appeal of that. I, for a long time, have suspected that Brian Warner, also known as Marilyn Manson, who is obsessed with National Socialist aesthetic, is Jewish because he's Polish and his last name Warner, it seems, I have my opinions with Marilyn Manson. Where you see more of an overt National Socialist, an overt National Socialist ideology in LaVeyan Satanism is under his daughter, Zina Shrek, also Zina LaVey. And this is due to her influence from Savitra Devi, who was someone I mentioned earlier in a previous video. Now, I find it a shame because I think that during the 80s, LaVey started crapping out. He was old, he didn't want anything to do with blah, 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 blah. There was in the midst of the satanic panic. So Zina and her husband Nicholas Shrek, and a former member of the Church of Satan and founder of another satanic organization known as the Temple of Set, which is the other place you will find overt National Socialism of the Guido von List variety. That is another place you will find it. But first I'm going to do this. I do think that both Nicholas Shrek and Zina LaVey were creating a new LaVeyan Satanism based in like an as-a-true type Germanic paganism with LaVeyan satanic ideas regarding objectivism and Nietzschean ideology and Nietzschean philosophy, as well as being infused with the Savitra Devi stuff and the teachings of Charles Manson, the teachings of Atwa, air, trees, water, and animals, and conservation. And to this day, Zina Shrek is an animal rights activist and a conservation activist, as is her ex-husband, Nicholas Shrek. Now, I find it unfortunate that Zina dropped Satanism and became, I think she's Tibetan Buddhist. I find that somewhat sad because I think that her and Shrek were creating something unique, very powerful, in my opinion. They did later join the Temple of Set Zeno was thrown out for talking down about the crystal tablet of Set and pointing out how, I believe she pointed out how Set quotes Nietzsche in the crystal tablet of Set, which supposedly comes straight from the god's mouth, so to say. But you will find more overt National Socialist cultism under Lieutenant Colonel Aquino's religion. Why am I saying Lieutenant Colonel Aquino? Well, because Lieutenant Colonel Aquino was a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army and was involved in psychiatric warfare during Vietnam and beyond Vietnam. There was a lot of nonsense, and I'm going to leave a link to Dr. Grande and his video on the satanic panic and how it relates to cancel culture. There were a lot of ridiculous accusations made against Lieutenant Colonel Aquino, as well as Satanism in general, which caused a literal witch hunt, and which is exactly like what's happening with cancel culture today, except today it's racism and sexism and gender bias and cisgender heteronormative lifestyles, and these are the things that are being attacked. Whereas in the 80s and 90s, if you were a suspected Satanist or occultist or Wiccan or things of that nature, you were vehemently attacked. You could lose your job. You might even end up in prison or a mental hospital without knowing why or how you got there. And this all goes back to the anti-Masonic conspiracies. Now, I had a commenter talking about Masonry and the Bavarian Order of the Illuminati. I made a video about that. Okay, I made a video very recently about that. I made a number of videos about that, also dealing with Latter-day Saints, the Latter-day Saint religion, in relation to my family history with them. I would like to also point out what is race in Satanism. Satanism is beyond National Socialism. In fact, I'm going to leave a link to a video I did about how the satanic ethnicity is the cosmic race. Everybody knows I talk about Jose Vasconcelos and La Raza Cosmica, the cosmic race. What the hell is this? Okay? Anton LaVeyan talked about this in popular culture long before I knew who Jose Vasconcelos was. I only knew about Jose Vasconcelos because some chick that likes white dudes from Argentina brought Jose Vasconcelos' book, the Cosmic Race, to my attention. And I bought it, and I read it, and I liked it, and I said, wow, that syncs with what I've been saying. And that is the creation of a Pan-American race through the mixture of the Mestizo and the Anglo, okay, into a unique Pan-American race. The satanic ethnic is similar in the sense that it sees, Satanists see themselves as a biological meta-tribe, okay, a tribe outside the norm that is unique and is unique based on this natural inclination to this underlying satanic archetype throughout various cultures. I think one of the problems people have with misunderstanding Satanism is they're getting their information from the wrong sources, such as crazy people on the internet or things of that nature. Now, recently I saw a YouTube video, I think it was Explore With Us is the channel, and it was about a Job Corps murder, which should show you, as somebody that went to a culinary arts academy in Job Corps and got thrown out for getting in a fight with people of color because they attacked me and tried to kill me, you will see the kind of people at Job Corps. It's called the Job Corps murder. And it had to do with this gentleman. This is in the 1990, 91, something like that. His name was Taddaryl Shipp. And I think he was the one that was primarily behind it, but his chick, who was some white girl, got caught up in it. Now, Taddaryl was thought to be a LaVeyan Satanist because he had the Satanic Bible in his dormitory. The problem with that is this. He's talking about there is no sacrifice whatsoever in LaVeyan Satanism. Why? Because to take anything's life is against Satanism. It is against Satanism to take the life of an animal or a human, because life is sacred. Satanism is a life-affirming religion. So this dude, Tadarrell Shipp, was talking about how they had to ice this chick because the celestial bodies were aligned. There's no such crap in Satanism. Satanism practices a very primal form of magic, more similar to lesser magic like Wicca, something like that, but no sacrifices, nothing like that. No celestial bodies, no astrological mumbo-jumbo, no chimes and cymbals and ching-chong-hoo-ha, contemplating your navels and your third eye and all that crap. In fact, in the Satanic Bible, LaVeyan even says you do not dunk yourself in smelly oils and dance and play Ring Around the Rosie, because that is not how satanic magic is performed. So my point is that the people that are getting their information on Satanism, why they have these wild-eyed views of these crazed satanic conspiracy theories, like, for example, the Peterson murder. Peterson tried to blame, and I actually do think that should have been, that's beside the point. That's outside the scope of this video. But Peterson claimed that his pregnant wife was abducted by a van of satanic murderers and all. The reason people have these crazy ideas is because that's what they get off of the movies, off of the television, off of the media, with shows like Geraldo Rivera and things of that nature, that promote this idea of some kind of vast satanic conspiracy lurking in the FBI and the CIA and the Army and all this other stuff. So the thing is, like, for example, Lieutenant Colonel Aquino was a Satanist. How many members of the armed forces are not Satanists? Nobody asks that one. How many members of the armed services aren't Satanists? I would say the vast majority of the armed services in this country, and any other country for that matter, are not Satanists. So a lot of these conspiracy theories and stuff like that are based on nonsense that has been perpetuated by the media and Hollywood to, I would say, bastardize and destroy a minority in this country, and that minority is Satanists. Whether they're LaVeyan Satanists or Setians or what have you, true religious Satanism does not involve human or animal sacrifice. Period. It just does not. So that would be my point with that. As for the National Socialist aspects, like I said, if you're looking for National Socialist aspects, there are some rituals mentioned in LaVeyan's book, The Satanic Rituals, that he claims are National Socialistic in origin. They are not. They are from his imagination. LaVeyan was a big fibber. A lot of the stuff LaVeyan said was a fib. He was a showman. He was a charlatan in many ways. Okay, but that doesn't mean anything he said is less important. And this is what people don't consider. Even if LaVeyan was a total fraud, it doesn't mean Satanism is a fraud. That's the important thing to remember. But where you will find the influences of National Socialism are in the works of Zena and Nicholas Schreck, and in the works of Lieutenant Colonel Aquino and the Temple of Set. So the Werewolf Order and the Temple of Set is where you will find where Satanism and National Socialism become one. You will also find references by LaVeyan in The Devil's Notebook, and I think it's Satan Speaks more so, where he states that Satanism is overwhelmingly Jewish and national. I think he uses the word Nazi, and then it's the combination of the two. As I said, this is by Jews like LaVeyan trying to own the archetype, the aesthetic of National Socialism as a way of making, because they see National Socialism, they see the Nazi as the archetype of power and authority and masculinity. So that is the Jew, the Jewish person, trying to usurp that symbol of power. And in fact, LaVeyan's one Baphomet symbol is the SS rune inside of an inverted pentagram. And that's all for this video.